All right, there we are. Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope you've had a good weekend. And let me just, all right, there's that. Ah, what happened? All right. Crazy stuff. We're going to obviously be talking about what happened here today uh, down in Florida. We'll get into that in just a moment. Obviously, we're going to continue on with the normal things we were also planning on talking about. But before we jump into anything, I just want to remind everybody that this is a very family friendly oriented channel. I would ask you all to please be decent in the chat. No racism, no nastiness. Please be kind to one another. If I could speak, it would be great. If you cannot do that, those awesome people lit up in blue with the blue wrenches, they're going to boot you out of here because we're not going to tolerate nonsense in the chat. So ahead of time, I thank you for that. So again, if you just coming in, if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to please ask you to do so to show support for the channel. It really does make a huge difference with the algorithms. So I thank you for that reason as well. Also, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And thank you ahead of time. All right. So let's jump into this first thing that obviously happened today. Once again, and let's talk. We're going to talk about a couple of things with this, right? So anybody that doesn't know, if you've been hiding under a rock, apparently there was another assassination attempt today on President Trump. Okay, so he was at the golf course down in Florida. There was a guy with a rifle, and the Secret Service detail, they generally go one hole ahead as he's playing. And as they went one hole ahead, there was a guy in the bushes with this rifle uh, looking to shoot President Trump. And so what happened was this, and I'm going by the news report with what they were the news conference. He was saying that, and they didn't say if there was an exchange of gunfire or just the Secret Service fired. So I can't give you that detail. They didn't say, but they did say shots were fired and the guy took off. There was a witness to the scene, saw the guy jump into a vehicle, took a picture, got the plate number, gave it out right away, and they ended up the other police got the bolo for the plate, pulled the guy over, got him out. The eyewitness was brought to the scene. He absolutely identified the guy that was the guy that they were looking for, and so now he is in custody. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens with it. So no shots were fired at President Trump, from what we're understanding for the information that we're being given at this point. It does look like there was going to be an attempt, on his life once again. So, what is going on that these things are happening, right? When you have, and this is, I'm just going to share information. When you have one side comparing an individual to Adolf Hitler, right? That's what they have done. The rhetoric, the misinformation, if you will, whatever being put out there. But when you have one side continuously attacking an individual, and again comparing him to Adolf Hitler, what if people could go back in time? And I want you to think about this. If you were able to go back in time, even if it meant sacrificing yourself, and think about this before you say yes, I would, or no, I wouldn't. And you could go back in time and kill him before he became in power. And how would that have changed things? And how would things be different? You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that would. because of the fact of everything that had happened, and the number of people's lives that were lost on all sides during that war. So there's a lot of people would say, yes, I would go back and I would sacrifice myself to take this monster out. And when you have one side comparing this individual uh, to being a monster, that he wants to be a dictator, that he wants to do this and he wants to do that and he wants to do Agenda 25. I mean, we've seen all that information being put out there. Okay. Now, when you say something enough, people will start to believe it. That's a fact. We also know that there are a lot of not mentally stable people out there. Okay. And it's, you know, it's insanity. And so who's to blame, right? Who's to blame? I think we can honestly say that there might be a connection with that. And then, of course, and then, oh my God, that's terrible that this has happened. And what were people saying openly? If you guys remember, Tenacious D there, right? The birthday thing, and the guy gets on stage and he goes, "What would your wish be? That they don't miss next time?" I mean, this is the mindset of people wishing someone else harm just because they don't like them. Listen, I'll tell you what, I don't like Hillary Clinton. Um, I've never really been shy about saying that. Um, do I wish her dead? Absolutely not. I don't wish anybody dead. But I don't care for the woman. I think she is a snake. That is my opinion. Okay. But it's, it's insanity that it's okay for one side to say whatever they want to say, any way they want to say it, and nobody does anything about it. Nobody says, "Hey, wait a minute, that's not the way to handle yourselves," and nothing gets done about that. Nikki Snook, Ed, how's your mom? Oh wait, so I'll give you an update here on mom. Um, what's going on with my mom is right now she has a lump on her neck. Okay, and in the last 2 weeks, the thing has doubled in size. And so she went to the doctors, and she they're going to do a scan of that, and that's going to happen, I think, Monday or Tuesday. And I said to mom, I said, and then she was like, "Yeah, the doctor said we're going to do the scan," and she said, "Come in and see me next month." I said, "Mom," I said, "get the scan, and if it continues to become a problem, if it's continuing to grow, you go back to the doctors right away. You don't wait a month to go back in." So it's causing her some issues. She's like, feels like she has a sore throat. So in my family, we die of two things in my family. We die of old age and we die of cancer. Her brother, who was the oldest, he started out with lumps on his neck, and it ended up being throat cancer. A non smoker, didn't do drugs, didn't drink, exercised all the time, very, very healthy individual. Lived in Southern California, lived in San Diego, didn't lay out in the sun. So he didn't do any of those type of things that we would consider bad or harmful. Exercised, all that. He died at 72 because of cancer, and he was the oldest. My mom's younger sister, my aunt, has been fighting cancer probably for the last 5 years now. And both of my grandparents on my mom's side died because of cancer. So it's there, it's prevalent. I've had cancer. So, and mom does not smoke. No, JJ. Mom has never been a smoker. No. So, um, but like I said, we're going to get the scan. And I said to my mom, I said, listen, let's not jump to conclusions. Let's not pre-diagnose ourselves. And I mean, I'm very concerned. I'll be honest with you. I'm very concerned. So she's going to get that scan. And if things continue to, get worse before her doctor's appointment, I told her, get in right away, call that doctor and say, hey, things are getting worse. What's going on here? So Um, well, no, she's gonna get the scan. It's gonna take them a day or two or whatever. If things continue to get worse, I'm gonna be talking to her. Like I generally talk to mom every day, but we'll say, okay, get your scan, give them a day or two, and then you get on the horn with the doctor. So, and then we'll go from there. Probably they're gonna want to either remove it or biopsy it, depending on what they find with the scan. And when I had what I thought was a sebaceous cyst on my back, and it was fast growing. So, very fast acting cancer. The cancer that I had affects 1 in a million people. And I just was lucky enough to be that one. So, again, but I will tell you this, and I will always remember this, my cancer doctor saying, Ed, if you had to pick a cancer to get, you picked the right one. 95, uh, what was it? 98% cure rate. In 95% of people, it does not metastasize, meaning that the cancer goes someplace else. And so I've been very, very fortunate. I'm going to knock on Formica. It's been 9 years for me now. July was 9 years since I had my surgery, and I'm doing okay. So, but anyway, going back to talk, I appreciate the asking me about my mom. I really do. Thank you very much for the question, and we'll see what happens. But I will keep you guys informed, letting you all know too while we're just starting to stream out. I will be live streaming on Wednesday. Wednesday, I'll be live streaming at 6 o'clock on Wednesday. I will do a live stream for my hardcore members, and at 8 o'clock, I will do a normal live stream for everybody else, and we'll kind of go from there. So we'll see what happens. But that's the game plan right now. Um, Most likely Friday I will not. Next Friday I will not, and I'm going to see what happens with Sunday. I don't know yet. No guarantees. All right, so we'll see. We'll see. If I can next following Sunday, I do plan on live streaming the following Sunday. But time will tell. We'll see what happens, and we will go from there. But all right. So anyway, like I said, my mom not a drinker. She'll have a drink. We used to have the running joke that she was a big drinker, but mom was not a big drinker. She never smoked. She tried smoking like once when she was younger and didn't like it, and so she just was not a smoker. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, going back to the whole situation with President Trump, the hatred that people have for the man is unhealthy. Absolutely unhealthy. I just, like I said, I don't hate Hillary Clinton. I just don't like Hillary Clinton. And there's a big difference between disliking somebody and hating somebody. Um, you know, I honestly believe that most of the politicians out there have their own interest at heart and not everybody else's. And I love when they start spewing the rhetoric about Trump, especially Hollywood celebrities, right? Robert De Niro would be a great one that comes to mind. And if I remember correctly, and tell me if I'm wrong, all right? Tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah, they caught the shooter. Yep, yep. Um, Tell me if I'm wrong. Under Trump, we were not at war, right? 4 years, no war. Economy was doing very, very well before the pandemic came into effect and everything shut down and all that good stuff. So the economy was booming up to that point. Uh, Record unemployment lows for blacks and Hispanics. Uh, Price of gas was cheap. You look at the difference. All you got to do, folks, realistically, look at the difference of the cost of food before or at the end of President Trump's 4 years, and in the last 3.5 years, or almost 4 years now, as we're moving, to the end of this administration. Look at gas prices. Look at everything. Look at the cost of living. You go down the list, and everything is so much higher now. So you know they can dislike him all they want, but when he was in charge, the country was doing very, very well. And here's the most important thing: we did not have a weak leader. We have a weak leader right now, and we also have a weak vice president. Okay, so let's not kid ourselves. So, but I hope so too, Alex. And like I said, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but we'll see what's going on first. But you know, we need somebody that the rest of the world is going to go, yeah, I'm not screwing with America because they're not taking any crap. Right now, we're in trouble. We've been in trouble. And so, that is not been a fun thing at all. So, all right, what do we got? We got 224 in the chat, guys. We got 89 thumbs up. So if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel. I do appreciate that ahead of time. Again, it really does make a big difference. Get out of there with the algorithms. So I appreciate it for that reason again as well. Again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. But the problem is this, guys. Things can change in a heartbeat. If they say, I want you to think about this. Let's say whoever wants Trump gone, are successful, right? Let's say they become successful. Who's running then? What would we do with the election, right? Do you have time to get a new candidate out there? I mean, you know, that would be, that would be, it would be chaos. It would absolutely be chaos. Would we have another selected candidate if that was the case, or that'd be a first, right? Two non-elected candidates that were selected. You don't know. You don't know. So I just, like I said, I have been saying to you guys for a very, very long time, prepare the best way that you possibly can, get things squared away, be as ready as you can be. We I'm gonna mention this again because again we had a group weekend this weekend. Okay, and you're gonna be seeing the videos coming up over the next several days of some of the stuff that we did, what we got accomplished, and stuff like that. Vance would probably run in Trump's place. You know what? You don't know though, Don. That could possibly be the case. Well, let's hope that that's not going to be the case. Let's hope that they're not successful in taking him out. But anyway, when you're looking at the overall, well, so we had a group weekend this weekend, and I'm going to reiterate something that I, again, really truly believe is so important. If you are not in a group, okay, I'm gonna go over what I've said before, and I'm gonna share with you and the importance of a group. Three things are going to happen when a true SHTF situation happens. And when I say a true SHTF situation, I'm talking the end of the world as we know it. It ain't going back, complete chaos. Again, remember a couple things before I make this statement. 95% of the, or no, 93%, I'm sorry, 93% of the people in this country, we're just talking about the United States of America, are not prepared for a 2 week disaster, let alone anything longer. Okay. So, and of that 7% that's ready for 2 weeks, how many are ready for longer than 2 weeks? The percentage gets smaller and smaller as you go up the ladder. Okay. So, that being said, three things are going to happen. I guarantee you this after an SHTF event. All right. This goes out to all you lone wolves, all you people that think you can do it on your own, and all this type of thing. Three things are going to happen. You will either be dead. That's the number one thing that will happen to a large percentage of people. A lot of people will die in a true SHTF event. The analytics that they said that within inside of 1 year, 90% of the population would be gone. So figure that percentage out and where you want to be in that percentage. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I would say that you will be part of a well, you will be part of a group. There is no other option. You will be part of a group, okay? Because you will have to become part of a group, banding together with other people to survive. So you're going to either join a group, right? You're either going to join a group, you're going to be dead, or you will have already had a group established. That's the third option. You will already be part of a group. Now, to me, I would rather already be part of an established group because I know what I'm getting. I know the people that are in my group. We've been working together. Um, that's the important part of it, okay? Uh, if you don't have a group, you will end up joining a group for your own survival. Now, what kind of group will you end up being in? Who will that leader of that group be? What is their objective? What do they want? And you better fall in line, okay? It might not be the same objectives that you want, but you're going to have to do it for survival. So that's what I want you to think about. That's what I want you to think about. So being part of an established group or starting a group yourself or whatever way you want to do it, I think it's imperative. There's still time. You know why there's still time? Because SHTF has not happened yet. That's why there's still time. Get involved. Get part of a group. If you want long-term survival and you want to be able to make it, you better be part of a group. So that being said, I talked about teamwork in the title of this live stream. Teamwork and working together. So important. So important. This weekend, we got a lot of things done down here individually. Some individuals were working on projects, and we had a couple of group things that we needed to get squared away, which we did. Okay. And it's just always about trying to work together, get as much accomplished as you can get, and just go from there. So, JJ says they are trying real hard to shove Carmela ads on your face during this live show. Oh, I'm sure they are. Of course they are. And I think that's that they know, meaning YouTube knows. This is a conservative audience for the most part. I'm sure there's some liberal people watching, which is fine. I don't really care. I don't care who's watching. If you enjoy the content, I hope you're enjoying it. But when it comes to prepping and stuff like that, generally it's more right leaning. Okay. So, why are they going to bombard people that absolutely cannot tolerate her and her nonsense? So it's crazy. But Sonia says, my group will be family. My oldest sister has 26 acres. Well, there, you know what? But here's the other part of that, Sonia. That's great that you're doing that. But what are you guys actively doing right now? See, I want you to think about that. What are you actively doing right now to put yourselves in a good situation? As a group here, I will tell you what, we have a game plan. I mean, you look at one of the things that we did this weekend, 22 more 275-gallon totes came in. Now, somebody was asking, how much do the totes cost? We, because we bought a larger bulk amount, the totes were $87 a piece. And then we had, Jimmy went and did the running. So everybody in the group that bought totes gave him extra money for gas. So everybody did because of the fact that it was his time, his money. He had to go to New York to get them. He is in Pennsylvania. He lives in Pennsylvania. So he had to go up by Syracuse, go pick up these totes, load them up, brought them back to his place, waited there until the get together was coming, and then he came down here and brought them here. As soon as he got them here, what did he do? Did he go in and take a nap because he'd been up forever? No. He distributed all the totes to the members that were buying the totes. Okay. And it was and I'm going to give Bud props as well because Bud was the contact person. Bud put up half the money, Jimmy put up half the money, fronted it, okay, knowing that when they came down here with that, and the members that were buying totes were going to take care of them. And that's another thing is that trust. Trust is huge. You got to trust the people that you're going to be around. You got to trust the people that you're going to be around. If you don't trust them, you're screwed, okay? So you better hope that the people that you're part of your mag or the group that you end up having to join after SHTF, if you're not taking a dirt nap, you know, if you better hope that they have a good agenda. Because if they don't have a good agenda, you're going to have to do things that you don't want to do. Even if you're a decent person and you're part of a good group, all right, you're going to have to do some dirty work because there's going to be people eventually, no matter how far out no matter how isolated you are, no matter how prepared you are, eventually there will be people, um, you know, that will try to come and take your stuff, and you're going to need to defend what you have. I've said this from day one. I've talked about this before. We plan on laying low. That is our ultimate game plan. We're going to lay low, stay here on the property, not leave the property. So if we are prepared accordingly, we will not need to leave the property. There will be plenty of things here that we will have to do that need to be done and taken care of and all those type of things. So there's going to be things that we're going to have to take care of. So we're going to be busy, and then, with everything that goes along with that. But our game plan as a group is to get together, lay low, have each other's back, work together. And again, there's a lot of planning, lots of planning to go in with these type of things, and so that's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to get things squared away, get things in place, get supplies in place, whatever we need. Like I said, again, with the rain catchment, just that alone, that is huge. So we had gotten 20 totes before this. Bud already had totes up there. So I'll actually have to sit down and figure out. So as of right now, that I know of for sure, between the last load and this load, that's 22 um, 275-gallon totes. Now, Bud brought in a few others for himself, so there's probably at least three more. So we are right now at about 25 275-gallon totes that, once hooked up to the gutter systems, catching rainwater, you know, it's that's what it's about, is getting prepared the best way that we can, being ready to do what we got to do, and riding out the storm, if you will. You have to think about a lot of different things. Gardening, right? How much water is you going to take for gardening? We have periods of time down here in West Virginia where we don't get a lot of rain. We've been in a bit of a drought this year. Same thing happened last year. It was about a 3-month stretch where we did not get a lot of rain. So when the rain does come, you want to try to get every drop of water that you can possibly get, because you're going to need it. So the more storage you have ready to go, the better off you're going to be. So that was a huge one that we discussed in January. And we've been working on other things as well, in getting things in place, with having more buildings in here now. Okay, there's places to put things. So in the very beginning, there really wasn't. What's your favorite food for food storage, healthy or health? That's a great question. um for me, I really don't have one that I would say is a favorite over everything else, but I would recommend that people get comfort foods, stuff that you like. Make sure that you have things that you enjoy as part of your food storage. Now, you're going to need the basics, obviously. You're going to need your rice and your beans and all those good things, and then you can just laundry list add a whole bunch more stuff onto that. But meat is going to be important, protein is going to be important. I'm a big believer in having salmon, tuna fish, chicken in a can. If you can get ham in the can, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that you can get, that you can utilize for your preps. And so I think it's really important. Like I said, I love tuna fish. And if you guys watched recently, I had a couple of members, or not members, I'm sorry, I had a couple of people that watched the channel donated money through my donation button on the front of the channel, right? If you go to preppernurse1.com, on YouTube, you will see a donate button. Well, they donated, two different individuals donated $100 a piece. And I took that $200, and the second person said to me when they donated, take this money and go get food. And so that's exactly what I did. And I did a video on that, and I got another 48 cans of tuna fish. I picked up chicken in a can. I picked up pork and beans because that's a huge protein source there. I ended up getting some clam chowder. Again, I was looking for higher fat content, proteins, stuff that's going to be that you're going to need, that you're going to want to have. All right. Like everybody talks about meat rabbits, and meat rabbits are great, and that's a great thing to have. But you're also going to, meat rabbits are lean. You could eat rabbit and starve to death because you're not getting the fat in your diet. And I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot of people in the beginning of an SHTF that are going to be cooking the head of the rabbit and eating the eyeballs and the brains and stuff like that. They're just not going to do it. Now, later on down the road, when there's no food available at all, then yes, they probably would then. But you're not going to get your fat proteins that you need from that. So that again, that's important. So, but yes, I like Berkey filters. They just basically wouldn't allow Berkey to sell them anymore. I have a bunch of Berkey filters, and guess what? I'm not replacing them. I'm not getting different ones and throwing the ones that I have out because our government says that, they didn't do this or they didn't do that. Do you honestly trust, realistically? I mean, let's think about this, folks. Do you honestly trust the government with a lot of the things that they say when over the course of time, a lot of their advice or what we should do is not always accurate? I'm trying to be as politically correct, saying that as I can. But, again, yeah, you can still get Berkey filters, but you can't get them through Berkey. You have to get them through another company, so you can still get the filters to utilize. And again, one of the things, and like water storage, right? Been talking water storage in this live stream. Being able to purify water, to make it potable, to make it so that you can drink it, so that you can, cook your food in it. That's gonna be huge. Those are things that are huge, and so you have to think about those things and prepare accordingly. Do the best that you possibly can, and that's all I think any of us can do. And so like I said, we have a game plan, and we are locking things in place now. I will be doing. Jimmy was working more in his building, and I'm going to do another video upcoming. You'll see it this week coming up about that and what he did and what he got accomplished. I do another update on Mark's. We did a bunch of canning this weekend as well, and the ladies worked really hard. And I got to tell you, they did. They worked their butts off, and I helped them a little bit, and other members also helped, and but I'm trying to bounce around and do different things as well. You'll see updates on the Wolf's Lair and how that is doing. So, but thoughts on storing wine or beer at? Is it possible? Oh, absolutely, especially wine. Wine is going to get better with age. So, I'm a big believer. Now, beer is, I don't know how long beer would last, to be honest with you. I don't know what the shelf life of a beer is. So, as far as that goes, but I know wine is a great one to stock up on. But again, if you're trying to be diverse, if you have everything else that you need, should you have liquor stored up? You should, because it's very barterable. You could save up vodka, buy cheap vodka, and you can use it as a tenure. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can use and utilize when the time comes. So, you know, again, I believe in preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. I do not have a whole lot of faith in mankind. I really don't. So, it is Heineken lasts forever. Well, I'll tell you what. I used to drink Molson. I used to drink a lot of Molson, and I ended up getting a skunky batch one time, and it just really just turned me right off. I couldn't drink Molson after that. And like I said, I really did like Molson. So that's when I switched over to Labatt's and started drinking Labatt's. So, uh, corned beef take years to go bad if you keep it in the basement. Well, a lot of stuff, guys. Let me give you an example. All right, I'm going to show you like one. I like beef raviolis. Okay, one of the things I like. So, I'll pick it up a case at a time. Now, this one here is a newer one. So best by date, it says May 27 of 2026. Okay. I will tell you right now, I have eaten canned food that was 7 years past the best by date. So, what does a best by date mean? Best by date means that after that date, it starts to lose nutritional value. That's it. Does it mean it's bad? No. If this can was swollen, right? If this can was swollen, or I opened up the can and it had a really bad smell, then I would not eat it. Okay, because that is an indication that it's not good. If that can's swollen, get rid of it. It's not going to be good for you. So, and again, you go with your smell. You smell it and it smells bad. Go, yeah, no, I'm going to pass on this. But I've eaten a lot of stuff well past the expiration date, and it's still just fine. I've eaten pork and beans 11 years past the best date. Yeah, I mean, and again, it's not. It's the reason that they put that date on the bottom of the can because they want you to look at it and go, oh, that's bad. Even though that can looks perfectly fine. Oh, that's bad. I'm going to throw it out. And what are you going to do? You're going to go buy more. And it's a waste. It's just an absolute waste. So again, you have to make the decisions on what you want to do. I would rather have stuff that was 5 years past the best by date than have nothing at all. So again, you have to make those choices for you, what you want to do when it comes to that. So what do we got? We're at 273 in the chat, guys. We got 142 thumbs up. If you have not shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel, and I do appreciate that. Ed, since you're from New York, you might know a brand, but I'm sitting on 4 cans of Grandma Brown's baked beans. I hate to use them. Oh, those are good. Yeah, Grandma Brown baked beans are really, really good. Yeah, those are really good ones. But neighbor Bob says, "What's your to-do list with fall and winter coming?" All right. So one of the things I don't know if you've seen the video yet or not. Maybe not. I don't know. But Mark brought down a wood splitter that he's leaving down here, and we have Roy processed a lot of the trees down by his place and cut up a lot of trees. So we're going to take the splitter down there. We'll split up that wood. We'll make him a woodshed. That's one of the things, getting woodsheds into people that have wood stoves, getting those in place. That's one of the things we'd like to do, get them filled with wood. That's another thing that we need to do. So, there's definitely things that we want to take care of ahead of time that way, preparedness wise. So, fall, winter, keep getting getting wood stoves in for people that don't have wood stoves. Right now, uh, over this we went out and we bought, well, Roy bought the components that he needed for his wood stove. He had to order a couple parts, and when they come in, he will be ready to go for his wood stove to be installed. He's got everything else. So, when he comes back the next time, we will go in and we will get his wood stove in. Johnson has everything he needs. He needs one more piece of cement board. So if he grabs that, he was not here this month, but when he comes next month, we'll get his wood stove in next month for him. So he needs a woodshed filled with wood, ready to go. So, there's a lot that has to be done from that perspective. Just making sure that we are ready from that perspective again, because I would hate to be in a situation where SHTF happens and, we only got a little bit of wood and people have wood stoves. And now they're here full time, trying to stay warm, because that would be a chore that we would have to be on top of right away. Now we're still going to need to be on top of that, but anyone in the group know how to make bread from scratch using the wood stove? Yeah, we have different people that really know how to make bread. So, using yeast and self-rising and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, we definitely do have that. And again, And so here's another thing with a group. I want to go back to that a little bit and talk more about a group. When you have a number of people, not everybody thinks the same. Um, I may look at something one way and go, yeah, I think we should do it this way. And somebody else may say, well, wait a minute, what about if we did it this way? Don't you think that would be easier? And I've this has happened, folks. This has happened. And I go, you know what? You're right. That would be easier. And we all agree as a group, yes, we're going to do it this way because it's going to be the best way. So when you have a lot of people going through the thought process, it really works. But you also have to be willing, right? You also have to be willing to compromise. What works? How's it going to work? What way should we do it? And do it that way. So that's huge. The other thing too with a group, guys, many hands make light work. We had a couple different things going on at the same time this weekend. So, getting the insulation into the wolf slayer, we had a few people in there working on that. We had people working on jelly. A couple of guys were just working on their cabins, getting things done and getting things squared away. And so, like Mark had said in the group chat, he goes, I got everything accomplished this weekend that I wanted to get done. So that's awesome. You know what I mean? Cowgirl in Arizona says, absolutely pick your battles in a group. Right. And the thing is, you have to come together. You have to come together. There has to be a consensus of priorities, what needs to be done. If you're just focusing, right? If I had everybody come down and we just focused on this project and that project, and I said, no, you can't work on your cabin, you can't do anything there, you have to do this. You're going to have issues if you do stuff like that. So you got to make sure you're giving your people time to work on the things that are important to them as well. And I think that that's really important, and that's all part of it. Can you tell me what's the difference between jam and jelly like grape? Um, it just depends on how it's made. Like the jelly that we made this weekend, they call it scrap jelly. It's apple scrap jelly. So it's taking the scraps that a lot of times that people would not use and turning that into jelly. And I will tell you what, it was amazing. It tasted so good. I mean, I was literally taking a spoon and putting it into the jelly liquid. It wasn't set up yet. Um, Prepared family, so it's not a voting group. Yes, absolutely, it's a voting group. Absolutely, it's a voting group. Everybody has a vote in what we're doing, what our long term plans are, what we want to do, what we want to accomplish. So yes, at the end of the day, there has to be somebody in charge, right? So, what about hunting for deer? If we had to do it to survive, we'll absolutely do it. Um, so, but I don't care what group you're with, guys. At the end of the day, there has to be somebody in charge making the call on certain things. There always has to be that. And I'll tell you right now, some people on here like me, some people that watch my channel hate my guts. I really don't care, to be honest with you. My um I'm trying to think how I want to say it. My priorities are what's best for the group. Okay, that's my priority. What do we need to take care of? What do we need to do? And sometimes you have to make a hard call. All right. And there are things that we are doing that we have to make the hard call. This is the priority. This needs to be done. And so, or I say to somebody, or I'll address the group and say, everybody needs to do X, Y, or Z and have that X, Y, or Z done by X, Y, or Z date. And if you don't, that shows me where you're at. Okay. That shows me where you're at. And if you see, this is not something you want to get involved with if you want to be lackadaisical and just sit back and hope that everything is going to be great. That's not what we're about. We are actively preparing for things to go bad. Now, if they never go bad, guess what? We're going to have a lot of buildings down here, and people that are part of my group are going to be able to take a vacation, get away from the chaos and the nonsense anytime they want and come down and chill out and relax. Okay. So, but, you, like I said, this is not a game to me. This is my life, and I'm involving myself with people that I want to have the same mindset, to have not necessarily agree with me 100%. That's not what I'm talking about. I want people that are willing to work together as a team, because if you don't have that cohesiveness when things go sideways, you're screwed. You're screwed. So you have to come together, you have to work together. It's really, really important. So, all right, we're going to get ready to do egg count, so don't do any guesses yet. I'm going to ask again, real quick. We're at 275 in the chat. Again, if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to please do so to show support for the channel. What do you think about hunting for game animals like deer, elk, moose when trying to get food in SHTF moment? I'll talk about that in a second, Alex. We're going to do this really quick first. I'll tell you what my thoughts are on that. Um, so again, if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel, and I do appreciate it. Also, again, it really makes a huge difference with the algorithm. So the more interaction, the better off you're going to be. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And thank you very much ahead of time for that. So, all right. How many eggs today? And yes or no for Miss Betty White. Did she lay or did she not? So we'll give you guys a moment to get your guesses in, and we will go from there. So. Give you guys a moment to get your guesses in. We have 5 hens, 5 laying hens. We have a couple of the hens have names. Trying to give you guys a chance, and nobody's getting the right answer yet. So that should tell you something. So if you guess something else, I would guess something else. All right, we finally have a right answer. You guys were just like so way off. It was like like when I collected the eggs today, I was like, "Oh my God, these chickens are killing me today." So if you had the same guess as Omelette Design with 2 eggs today, and yes for Miss Betty White, only 2 eggs today. I went out there and I collected them out. Seriously, I go, it's a live stream. You're only gonna get. I had 4 eggs yesterday, so 2 eggs today. That was it. So congratulations to Omelette Design. You've won absolutely nothing, but you are happy about it. So all right. So uh no mealworms for them. Well, they got a lot of scraps. Maybe that would had something to do with it. They had all the apple scraps and all that. Who knows? Yeah. So, but anyhow, all right. So here's going to the question that was asked just before we did the egg count. When it comes to hunting um, in an SHTF event, the game plan ahead of time is to have enough stuff in place that we don't necessarily go hunting right away. Would we utilize hunting as a way to bring in more food? Absolutely, yes. In season, okay, in season. But I will tell you this, and I've talked about this a lot, folks. There will be a ton of people out in the woods shooting at everything that moves because they're not going to have any food. And until those people die off, um, the woods will be. I've always used this as an example. During the Great Depression, when there was a lot less people in the country, the woods were hunted almost until extinction. and it took like 30 years for the deer population to make a comeback and a lot of other game to make a comeback because people were out there all year round killing animals because they had to do it to survive. Okay. So, in a true SHTF situation now, in the number of people that we have in the country now, which is a whole lot more than we had back then, there wouldn't be any fish in the streams or the rivers or ponds because or even the lakes because if you have thousands of people every day dropping a line in there and maybe catching one or two fish, how fast do you think that they would deplete um, you know the fish population? They would deplete it pretty quickly. Okay, so I'm more in the mindset of getting other things in place. Like now, so if somebody had made a comment, well, 5 eggs ain't going to cut it if SHTF happens. Well, we have several members that have chickens. Okay, three off the top of my head that I can think of right now. They would be bringing their chickens, their ducks, all those type of things here right from the very beginning. So we definitely would have a lot more animals uh, in the very beginning of a true SHTF. We would be incubating from day one, trying to get more, because we would not be wanting to eat the chickens. We would, any older ones that were there in the group of the flocks, we would definitely have to start culling them to eat. Because once they're not laying anymore, we're not going to continue to feed an animal that's not going to be productive. So those are things that you would be thinking about. When it comes to hunting, you're probably not going to be wanting to be in the woods banging around with a gun. So, longbows or crossbows would be the ideal way to hunt because it's quiet. And when, people are starving and they hear a shot in the woods, everybody's going to know, hey, there's the area where there might be an animal. Let's go. So, those are things you got to be thinking about. You need to be careful about as well. So, um, the caloric intake on 20 to 50 people will be immense, Ed. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. And we are in a process now of putting things in place, um, minimums that people need to have on site by a certain date. That has been implemented. And the reason, so somebody would say to me, well, you've had this prepper group, May was 2 years. Why didn't you do it before then? We didn't have the space. We didn't have places to put things before. Now, with a lot of members having buildings on site, there are places to store stuff. So, and it isn't just food. I'm not just telling them just water and food. Bring down your toiletries, extra toiletries, clothes, blankets, pillows, whatever you want to make your life as comfortable as you possibly can. That's what we're trying to do. So, get your buildings squared away, get them insulated, get them squared away, get them spread, get your stuff in there. You look at Mark's cabin. Mark's cabin looks awesome, and he's even said, I wish I had made it bigger, but hindsight's always 2020. So he's going to utilize the area that he has, utilizing underneath the cabin as well. And so, he has things that he wants to do, with the cabin to get things squared away. So it's a process. And so right now we're trying to, get things squared away. So in the hollers, gunshots would be heard a long distance. Absolutely, Carol. Absolutely, it would. I think one of the advantages that we have, what somebody said, could you dig out the spring and making it into a pond? Well, the one spring we did dig out, now as little water as we have had, rain and all that type of stuff, there's probably at least 6 foot of water in that spring right now because we dug it down. We had them dig it out, pack out the side really, really well. That particular spring is doing fantastic and holding the water. Now, the other spring that we have on the backside here, we still at some point need to dig that one out. Again, it's time and money. Having an excavator guy come in, get down there, do what he's got to do. It's again, when we can afford to do different things, we're gonna do that. Right now, like I said, we're focusing on other aspects. But again, I want you to think this way. For those of you that, oh no, I'm never going to be in a group. I don't want to be in a group, blah, blah, blah. Can you stay up 24 hours a day? Can you accomplish all the things that you're going to need to do to be able to survive in a true situation where now you can't go get no more supplies? Okay. Are you able to stay awake 24 hours a day to be able to protect yourself? Okay. When you have a group, you're able to delegate responsibilities. You're going to have some people on watch 24 hours a day. That's never going to stop. You're going to have people that need to be able, your night people. Who are your night people? Figure out who likes nights, and those people need to stay up at night and be on watch then, and not have to worry about them falling asleep and then somebody sneaking in and doing something that you don't want to have happen. There's a lot to it. There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of discussions that have to be made. There's a lot of decisions that have to be made. Now, like I said, again, we have a voting process of what we want to do, what we want to get accomplished. Okay. So we vote on things. So if somebody says, hey, I think we should do this, we'll vote on it. If it's a bigger project, we'll sit down, or somebody comes up with an idea and says, what do you think of this, that, or the other thing? We'll discuss it, and we will go from there. So, I think it's really, really important that again, a cohesive unit that's working together is so, so important. And I'm going to tell you what, and and I know I talk about this a lot, but I'm going to tell you what, I am very, very fortunate that, are you going to block off the road coming back to the property at a point once every person's there? Most likely, Don. Yeah, we're not going to leave open access. So they're definitely, once we have gotten to the point where we're locking in, trees will be dropped. The road will not be easy to get through. And that may be a spot where, we have somebody in that area keeping an eye on things. So yeah, there's a lot to it, but I couldn't be prouder of my group. Everybody, like this weekend, we got a lot accomplished. Everybody's working really, really hard. They're very much engaged in the process of what we're doing, and they're on board, which I think is important as well. And that's where we're at, and we're going to continue to do that. And each month that we get, I look at it as a bonus, as members get their building squared away. And like, for an example, like with Roy getting the stuff that he needed, for his wood stove. Okay, you're looking at $1,400 he's put out just for that, just to get the wood stove squared away. He picked up a bunch of insulation that he's going to be getting in as well. So, the insulation's already here. And so, he wants to get the building wired. So there's a lot that goes with it. And so, those are things. Again, it's a process. We're working on things, and every month that we get more accomplished, the better off we're going to be. Um, the Wolf's Lair is going to be primarily a storage building. That's the plan with the Wolf's Lair. So we're probably not going to wire it up. We're not going to put electricity in there, because it's going to be. Yes, we did. We made apple butter. We did some apple sauce. We also did apple jelly. Now, we had way more apples than, like, we had 13 5-gallon buckets. Okay. So one of the members took 2 buckets because she wants to dehydrate apples. Uh, Sandy and her sister took 6 buckets, back with them, and they took the tomatoes as well because they're going to process them back at their place and then bring them back. But we ended up, so it was what, there's what, 8. So we ended up processing what, 5 buckets. And we were not as organized as we should have been with the process. And again, so what is that an opportunity for? It's a learning opportunity. Where are we weak? What did we screw up with? What should we have done different? What will we do different next time? And so those are always great things to me, because that's how you learn. All right, we should have had this. We should have had that. And so, that's really important. Does anybody in the group know flint mapping to make arrowheads? I don't think so. Um, you know, so that's a matter of making sure you have plenty of bows, uh, plenty of arrows, plenty of arrowheads. So, you know, but yeah, like I said, guys, I'm going to continue to encourage you. Prepare, prepare, prepare. We do not know when that other shoe is going to drop. I do believe it's coming. So the better off that you are prepared, the more that you have squared away, the better off you're going to be. And that's where we're at right now, trying to work on those things, get those things squared away, and continue to work on things. So anyway, keep prepping, take care of your business. I'm going to jump off of here for now. Have a great night, everybody. And again, I hope you guys make the right decisions. Do what you can. Even if you are by yourself and you can't get involved with a group or whatever, do the best you can to prepare yourself the best way that you possibly can. That would be my advice. Okay. But anyway, have a great night, and I will talk to you all later. Prepperness One out for now.